This episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast is brought to you by Insightful Accountants Be Insightful membership program. Get 9 expert-led training tracks, over 30 CPE hours a year, hands-on workshops, and year-round premium content to grow your skills and your practice. Learn more at blog.insightfulaccountant.com. Just click the premium member content button.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast. My name is Gary DeHart. I'm the host of the Accounting Insiders podcast and the publisher of Insightful Accountant. And my guest today is Jeff Seibert. Jeff's the CEO of Digits. So Jeff, welcome. Thanks for having a conversation.
Gary, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, and so we had a call a few weeks ago, just kind of a planning call. And we're going to be looking a little bit about your history, kind of what got you here, what's Digits all about, why is it different, why now? For, why accounting, why now kind of thing, and then explore a little bit like who's it built for, who's it best for, and who's it not a good fit for, and then kind of wrap up with partner program, anything else that might be in the pipeline that you can share. Even though this is recorded on, I always like to put a date on. This is recorded on November 20th, so what we say today is true and factual to our knowledge, right, and to our belief.
Yep.
But 2 months from now, things may change, right? You especially, like your world is a very rapidly changing world that you live in.
It is, and we're actually ramping up for a big launch in December. So stay tuned for that. Can't talk about
Right.
that today.
Okay, well, might have to have you back on in about a month to see what that is. So let's start with your background and
Yes.
what got you to Digits.
Yes. So again, thanks so much for having me, Gary. Great to be
Absolutely.
here. I'm Jeff. I grew up on the East Coast in Baltimore, Maryland. My whole life has been coding. I taught myself C when I was 12 and just fell in love with computers and the ability to make computers sort of do whatever you want. And what really struck me about programming was you can write code once and it can run a million times, a billion times, it doesn't matter. And so sort of the energy input wasn't correlated with the output, which I just found as a really cool concept.
Yeah.
And so came out west to Silicon Valley, haven't looked back. Digits is my third tech startup. I started a document collaboration company way back in 2007, basically building tech to allow you to see a file in your web browser, comment on it, mark it up right in the web browser. Today, that sounds sort of stupid. Back in 2007, that was actually pretty novel, and no one else could do that. We ended up getting acquired by Box and powered all document display on Box for the next 5 years.
Okay.
And then in
And did you
2011,
work at Box? You worked at
I
Box for
did,
those
yeah. Then I
times?
joined
Okay.
Box and was there a couple
Yeah.
years. I ended up leading Box's mobile engineering team and a few things. And in 2011, left and started Crashlytics, actually in the mobile developer tools space. This was a tool that helped app developers figure out what line number of code their apps were crashing on, and
Okay.
they could then go fix it. We got very lucky with the rise of mobile. We scaled from 0 to 300 million phones in 12 months
Wow.
and ended up getting acquired by Twitter. And so joined Twitter at the beginning of 2013 and sort of saw that business through IPO. I was running their developer platform. And then in 2015, Twitter named me head of product. So I ended up leading all the core consumer experiences many of you have probably used. I ended up resigning from that on Trump's inauguration the first time around, just because I saw the drama coming for the platform. And that unfortunately turned out to be true. I fortunately missed the whole Elon era and that chapter of things. And so the crazy thing is that journey is what actually led me to Digits. So from what I saw in my previous startups, and then also what I saw at Twitter, really struck me the difference in data quality between product engineering and business finance. And on the product engineering side, we had Google Analytics, we had A/B testing tools, we had Grafana, we have all these like live real-time dashboards, and you can see exactly what your users are doing, what your servers are doing, what the logs are saying. Like it's all real-time data. And those were all effectively free to run and get all that intel. And then on the business side, as the founder, I was sitting there waiting 2 to 3 weeks for a black and white P&L from my accountant. And I was just like, clearly something's wrong here, right? Like, why don't I have a real-time finance dashboard? And so that was sort of what struck me. And when I left Twitter, it was an interesting time. This was right in 2016, basically 2017. And machine learning was sort of up and coming. AI was not a thing yet,
Yeah.
but ML was really interesting. And as head of product, I shipped Twitter's algorithmic timeline. So the transition from just like the straight chronological feed that everyone was used to the for you, like it picks posts in order. And Facebook did the same thing just before us. And those were some of the world's first global deployments of machine learning technology.
Hmm.
And so I saw the power of it. I also saw the downsides in terms of misinformation and sort of extremist content and so on that kept getting surfaced. And so I was also looking for like what company could I start that could benefit from ML where there's no downside. And so the convergence of these two led me to Digits. I was like, okay, what if we could make accounting real time? What if we could
Mhm.
architect it in a way where machine learning could do a lot of the tedium in terms of like the booking transactions, reconciling them, et cetera? And there's no downside. There's no choice, like chance of bias or misinformation or whatever. So that was the sort of seed moment for the company.
Back to your black and white, right? So
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
accounting, well, accounting's supposed to be black and white, right? It should be, it either is or isn't.
Correct. Correct.
And so, so we talked in our planning call about, so Digits has been on the scene for 5 years, 6 years,
7 years now, 2018,
seven. Okay.
but we were pretty much in stealth mode until 2024. So for most of that time.
Okay. Yeah, because we would see you at trade shows, see the company at
Mhm.
trade shows and go in and ask them, hey, what do you guys do? And kind of would not get a real clear answer from people. And but that was part of your strategy, right?
It was, yeah. We started attending accounting conferences 4 years ago, just
Yeah.
to obviously meet folks, really get to understand the profession and learn what was important and so on. And we couldn't tell the full story, but we were talking about our reporting engine and some
Hmm.
transaction review tools and a bunch of workflow pieces we had built that were all around the ledger. We didn't disclose to anyone that we had actually built a full GL, and that had been the sort of vision all along. But it was amazing to start building those relationships, and everyone was so curious, like, "Wait, what is Digits?" And we're like,
Yeah.
it's reporting, it's this, it's that, it's cool." So it's really exciting now to be out publicly in the market and tell the full story.
Yeah. And so go ahead, tell the full story. Tell a little bit
Yes.
more about it. I got
So
time.
for sure, for sure. So Digits
Okay.
is accounting software that works for you. And again, the original vision was, okay, can we basically apply machine learning to automate the tedium of the accounting process? And as we looked at that, we fell down the rabbit hole because I had no background in accounting or finance. I read two accounting textbooks cover to cover. We actually hired UCLA's
Yeah.
professor of intro accounting to teach
Okay.
our team a private class. And so now it's actually amazing. Like our engineers have a pretty solid sense of accounting,
Yeah.
and we have great conversations within the company. And so we went on that sort of journey to go build a GL, and it takes a long time. And we knew it would take a long time, and we had to sort of structure and set up the company for that. So we ended up raising $100 million in venture funding, pre-launch, pre-revenue. This was from
Wow.
Benchmark, GV, and SoftBank. And that allowed us to just sort of go heads down and focus. And so that was the most of the journey of the company. And now what we've been able to achieve is we spent 5 years training our own machine learning models. And so today, of course, all the hype is on ChatGPT and Anthropic and all these things. But as you look at accounting workflows, accounting is not a generative profession. Right? You don't want your accountant making up transactions, making up a new chart of accounts entry, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Accounting is a predictive problem space. You want the books like reliably booked every month. And so we ended up building and training our own predictive ML models on a data set of 180 million transactions. And so it has gotten to be extremely good. Digits now auto books 97% of inbound transactions fully automatically in real time. And so when you plug in your banks and cards and payroll and so on, all that data flows into the ledger. The remaining 3% is automatically surfaced for you in your inbox. And those are the
Okay.
transactions that the model wasn't confident on. It didn't quite know what to do. And so you go through your inbox, you book them. There's no rules to set up or tediously maintain. Digits just watches what you do and it learns instantly. And so when you book that transaction, it learns immediately from that the next transaction that comes in that's similar, it'll mimic what you just did. And so
Okay.
you train your digits simply by using it. And we now have countless examples of it being 100% perfect after 3 to 6 months of data in the system for
Wow.
a business.
Okay. Are you eliminating, I mean, outside the general ledger, are you eliminating or consolidating other, well, I'll use the term eliminating. Lim as a user, are you eliminating my need to buy these other add-on softwares?
Selectively, yes. And
Okay.
so reporting is fully built in. Transaction review is fully built in. It's really easy to send a transaction to your client to get their feedback on what was this, what did you buy, how should I be booking this. We have bill pay and invoicing built into the product, including payment rails, so you don't need to sign up for a separate thing. You can pay bills, you can get paid right in digits. So we've tried to be very intentional about what we think is core to the accounting experience,
Yeah.
because all of those are critical inputs to getting all the data into the system. And then for other stuff, payroll, expense cards, like all that stuff, we partner with all the top players. So
Okay.
we have an open API, we have a great partnership with Gusto and Ramp and Bill and so on and so on.
Okay. And so you're, I don't want to say it's not, is it fair to say, and again, I'm not a tech guy. I was not teaching myself code at 12, or 20 or 30 or now. But so is it, I mean, you're not AI first, right? I mean, that's not, is that, and again, maybe there's nuances in the terminology.
Yeah, so you're hearing probably a lot of people throw around the term AI native.
Yeah.
And everyone has sort of, I think, blurred the meaning of that term.
Okay.
What
So
we
then I
are,
don't feel bad at being somewhat unknowledgeable about that. So,
no, I think there's unfortunately quite a few folks sort of intentionally confusing the market on this
mm,
because everyone's trying to bolt AI onto their thing and then claim
right.
it's AI native. The way we explain it is you want a data model that was designed from the ground up for machine learning. And so that's one of the first things we did way back in 2018. This might get a little technical, but if you look at QuickBooks, Xero, even NetSuite, SAP, et cetera, they're all relational databases.
Okay.
And these were all architected 20 to 30 years ago. They're storing your transactions as rows in the database. And when you type in something or enter something, say, for example, you spent money on Uber, it just sees UBER. It doesn't know what Uber is, right? That's the fundamental difference with digits is we use what's called a vector graph data model. Everything in the system is an object. And so your vendors, your customers, your bills, your invoices, your chart of accounts, those are all objects in the system and the transactions connect them.
Okay.
What this allows is for the AI models to build a semantic knowledge graph of the finances, of the money flow of each business. That's how it gets so good at booking the data because it knows what these entities are. It knows what Uber is. It knows what Airbnb is, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so it can then understand how to book it in your chart of accounts. And this works on any custom chart of accounts. You don't need a default simple chart of accounts to get Chat GPT to do it. This is the power of true like predictive models. And
Okay.
so that's what when people say AI native, I think most people unfortunately aren't really telling the story. What we've done is build the system from the ground up for machine learning.
Okay. And then so you mentioned the large ERPs.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about who is Digits a good fit for and who is it not a good fit for. And then on top of that, like the ones that it's not a good fit for, is the plan for it to be a good fit for them down the road?
Yes, great question. So we focus on the core FMB market, the millions of American small businesses that are out there. These are folks typically on QuickBooks or Xero today. It is a direct replacement for that, again, all the way through bill pay and invoicing, your full chart of accounts, bank feeds, et cetera. We do a lot deeper analysis. We do automated insight generation across the entire finances. So we give you a full finance dashboard for your clients that then you can just drag and drop configure so that you're telling the story to each client. The same with our reporting. In terms of, oh, and we support full dimensions, so department, location, project, et cetera.
Okay.
I'd say in terms of what it's not great for today is we don't do inventory today. I know that's also a general weakness across the space. So that would be less of a fit. And then the big gaps, if you look at like what do you need to go up to NetSuite or whatever, we don't do multi-currency today. We don't do multi-entity consolidation today. But those are things we're thinking about on the roadmap.
Yeah. And again, not a coder myself, but I imagine if you've built the base with modern technology, that it will be much easier to make those, and I air quote easy, much
Yep,
easier to make those additions to the platform than it would be for a legacy product
that is
to
exactly right. And so,
rebuild, right?
yeah, this is how I think about it as a software engineer. So we architect for what we will need for a long time from now in the future. We just don't expose it yet. So our underlying architecture has full support for multi-currency, full support for multi-entity accounting. We just haven't like fully exposed that in the product, but that's why we can put it on the roadmap, and I think
Mhm.
it'll unlock relatively soon for folks.
Okay. And so is there any cap on the size, or is it more of a kind of, is it more of a type of transactions, or a transaction base? Because it's not big, it's not great for these, multinational companies. But I'm still, let's say, well, I'll just stop talking and let you answer my question.
Yes, digits is a high scale ledger. So if you're running a US based business, it doesn't matter how small or large. We have companies with millions of transactions in the system. And this was actually a core design consideration for us. So our Stripe integration connects directly like native to Stripe. It books every single customer detail, purchase, like line item, etc. And that's something that people just can't do in Xero or QuickBooks today because the volume
Okay.
of data is too much for those. This was key to us. And to explain why, Crashlytics, after we sold to Twitter, kept growing. And then in 2017, Google bought it from Twitter. And today, Crashlytics is on 6 billion monthly active phones.
Wow.
So effectively every smartphone on Earth.
Yeah.
We were doing 3 billion events a day. And so that scale of data is just immense compared to accounting. And the digits engineering team is the Crashlytics engineering team from 2011, 2012. And so
Okay.
we designed this from the beginning to be very, very high scale. And the dashboards, our reporting, et cetera, are extremely fast. The whole product will load in 100 milliseconds as you browse these transactions.
Okay. Well, speaking of that and product, and I know Murph, our primary editor, he's written a lot about it, has, I think,
Mhm.
interviewed you at Scaling New Heights, and I think he did maybe a two-part series on it, really went in depth into what is digits, and kind of a little bit of the discussion that we're having right now. Our core audience is the QuickBooks Pro Advisor or accounting professionals serving the people that you're trying to reach, the small business owners
Yep.
and finance teams. How do the accounting pros fit into your go-to-market strategy and into your business?
Yeah, so this is why we started coming to the conferences 4 years ago, even before we had something to sell.
Yeah.
The profession is critical for us, and so we go to market primarily through the accounting firm channel. We about 70% of our business is through that channel. You can obviously sign up for digits directly, just like you can QuickBooks and Xero, but the
Mhm.
vast majority of customers using it are through accounting firms. And so we have a great accounting partner program. We will offer you discounted wholesale pricing on our plans. We give you a free instance so you can do your own firm books on Digits for free. We have a whole bunch of perks in terms of training and enablement and badges for your team and so forth.
Okay.
So would love to speak with anyone who's interested. The other thing we've invested a ton in is client onboarding. And so it's not a huge, crazy process to get your clients over to Digits. You can actually move them over in about 5 minutes.
Oh,
And
wow.
so
Okay.
it picks up exactly where you left off. You have all your historical data. All you do is select the cutover point, and then Digits AI takes over and starts booking the transactions. And so it's been really seamless for firms to onboard tons of clients. I mean, we have firms with hundreds of clients on Digits.
And are you starting in any areas and growing out from there, or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter. And so again,
Yeah.
inventory not a fit today,
Yeah.
but if you're serving professional services businesses, agencies, even local services work great. Obviously, sort of software companies, that type of thing. The product works great.
And this is a silly question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I'm assuming it's all mobile, right?
So,
I mean,
yes, a lot of the client flows are mobile,
Okay.
So in terms of approving stuff, looking at their inbox, giving you feedback on a transaction, whatever, that's all mobile. The core accounting features for accountants are not mobile because
Okay.
nobody has asked for that.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yeah, we have found all the accountants generally want to be on their desktop computer.
I gotcha. Oh, that's funny. Well, I'm glad I asked them.
Yep. Yep.
So the partner program, can you dive just a little bit deeper? So let's say I've got, I'm going to put one a client. Accountants historically aren't um, the early adopters of much, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
and that's how we want them, right? We don't want our accountant being in the Wild West.
Yep.
Um, but let's say somebody hears this discussion or talk to you at a trade show or what have you, and they're interested in looking at the product, testing the product, seeing if it's a good fit for a client. What does that
Yep.
process look like?
Yep. So reach out on our site. You can drop your email address in. Our team will ping you for just a quick call to understand your practice and what you're looking for and so on. We'll get you set up with your demo instance immediately. So you can just play
Okay.
around in the sandbox and try out digits. You get your free firm books. And so you can obviously link your own existing books for your business and try it out with that. And then start adding clients. What we've typically seen is folks add probably a couple clients at the start, just like explore it and try it. And then folks, it depends on the type of firm and how they're scaling the business, either start using it for all the new clients they're gaining and
Okay.
then worry about migrating folks over later. Or if they're focused on their core business and optimizing that, then we do help you migrate your existing clients over. We have seen the feedback from the clients be incredibly powerful and positive because
Okay.
Digits is a very modern UI, beautiful graphs and visualizations. And so the reactions from the clients have been like, this is incredible. I can finally understand my business and check out the reports. We had a cool data point. We've heard from a number of firms that clients very rarely open the reports, right? Like you send them in the email at the end of each month, and only about 15% of clients will open that. We have data showing that 70% of clients open the digits reports because they get a beautiful visual email, they click through and they see this report in their browser, and it's all sort of fleshed
Hmm.
out with commentary and interactive hover states and so on. And so the client feedback has been super positive.
And that's all driven from Digit. That's not the accountant putting comments in. Is that correct?
Correct, correct. And
Okay.
so, of course, you
Yeah.
can customize it. You can drop in whatever you want for the client. But yeah, the AI will draft the report for you, draft the executive summary. And so you can issue reports in just a couple clicks.
Okay. And I think that's the key things that we had on our early discussion list. It's where, like we mentioned, it's November 20th. There's maybe one more trade show this year that I'm aware of, the Digital CPA.
Yep.
Any other, are you guys, do you go to that?
We will be there. We'll be at Digital. We have a booth.
Okay.
I may or may not be in the keynote, so stay tuned for that.
Okay.
So yeah, some
That's
exciting
exciting.
stuff
Yeah.
coming there. Uh,
Okay.
and I'll just highlight a couple things just from the past few weeks of announcements, actually. We have a bunch new capabilities. We announced our fully open API. We do not charge for API access, unlike some other large players that just announced that. So that is out there. We have the ability to train firm models. This has been very popular. So the way, as I talked about it, the way our models work is they train on each individual business, each individual client.
Okay.
And we now have the ability to train a firm model. So it trains on your work across your accounting firm and all of your clients. This basically allows it to learn the best practices that you're sort of putting in place across your client base. It makes it really easy to onboard a new client because
Mm.
when you set them up on digits, the model will mimic what you've done for all your other clients. And so that can be really powerful for folks. Uh,
Yeah. And I imagine on the firm side, right, it keeps them um, a standard, right? Helps them
right.
maintain
It
their
helps you
standards.
standardize
Yeah.
exactly. And we, of course, don't expose your firm model to other firms, other folks on digits. So it's entirely proprietary to you.
Okay. Great. So
And then,
you got digital CPA. Oh, go ahead. You had
oh,
others?
and then the last thing I'll mention, we just
Yeah.
launched this last week, fully automated bank reconciliation.
Okay.
So all you do is drag and drop the PDF bank statement onto digits. The model does everything. And it ties every transaction in your books to the pixel bounding box on the physical PDF. And so you can just mouse over and see where each one was sourced from, and then it
Okay.
flags anything it can't match.
Okay. And what are you seeing in that, like in the unmatched? What kind of percentages
Yeah,
are you seeing there?
ironically, it's also the 97% range. We don't know
Okay.
why all the models right now are like roughly that accurate.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's been funny. Over the whole data set, it's about 97%.
Okay, that's interesting. And that's a lot of data. How many
It's a
data
lot. Yeah.
points? Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
we have hundreds of accounting firms on the product, many thousands of downstream clients, et cetera.
right. So, okay, great. So one more time is digits.com, right?
Correct.
And then if I go to the website, is there like a partner connection or where is it that I would go?
Yes. So click on accountants right in the top middle of the site
Okay.
and become a partner, and then you'll be off and running. And I will say, if you don't even want to do that, you can just go and start a free trial of an individual plan and just like even link your personal credit card. It's hilarious. It'll auto book your personal credit card into a default chart of accounts in minutes, and you
Hmm.
can see how the model works.
Okay, there you go. That's a great way to test it out, right? And so digital CPA, is that going to be the last event for the year?
That will be our last event for the year.
Okay.
Yes.
And then what's lined up for 2026? I know it's still early, but
Yeah,
it's probably some things are probably booked, I imagine.
they are bubbling. We are, yes, there's a bunch of big conferences. I can't announce them yet.
Okay.
But we'll be at the sort of standard industry events.
Okay.
And then we have a bunch of more features that we've just started developing for next year. So stay tuned.
Yeah, and you said in December you've got something
Yeah,
that's
we'll be
targeted to come
making some
online.
announcements in December. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, we look forward to hearing more about that.
Awesome. Well,
All
Gary,
right. Well,
thank you
thank
so
you so
much.
much. Thank you for your time.
Are you an accounting or tax professional who wants to stay ahead without spending a dime? Join thousands who trust insightful accountant and tax practice news to keep them informed and empowered. Get expert updates on QuickBooks, Xero, tax planning strategies, and workflow tips delivered straight to your inbox. Whether you're a solo bookkeeper, firm leader, or tax advisor, these newsletters are your shortcut to what's next in the profession. They're free, practical, and built for people like you. Visit insightfulaccountant.com and hit subscribe to start your smarter workflow today for free.